Welcome back to Skypothesis. Devin and Tyler here, super excited to share our very first Fallout 4 build on this channel. This is the Atomic Fist. We had a lot of fun cooking this build up for you all and hope you enjoy this journey through the Commonwealth. I'm going to pass it right over to Tyler to explain this build.
This is an agile melee combatant who makes use of all sorts of explosives and the iconic Power Fist. It is a non-VATS build, which means manually sprinting up to enemies and punching their face off. She has high endurance and agility, which create a fast-paced and addicting gameplay loop. There is nothing quite like hucking a baseball grenade through a window and then mowing down whatever's left with your Power Fist. We were inspired by the loader in Risk of Rain 2 and wanted to approximate that free-flowing motion across the battlefield with uninterrupted sprinting. We combined the idea with a demolitionist and the Atomic Fist was born. She is a chaotic good, well-intentioned misfit and believes that protecting the innocent requires taking the offensive in the fight for freedom. Her loyalties and affinities are a bit of a mixed bag, so to get into her head, let's jump into her backstory. The Atomic Fist grew up as a child of strange parents. She didn't have many friends since they were the odd family on the block and the neighborhood kids were not allowed to play with her. Her parents were alien anthropologists, conspiracy theorists who made a career out of uncovering evidence of extraterrestrial life and then publishing books documenting their theories. Because of this, she was relentlessly bullied at school, and her family reputation followed her wherever she went. Sports were her solace. She loved baseball, and the bullying lessened in her teenage years when she proved herself an incredible pitcher, and her wicked fastball led the team to a state championship. She would carry a chip on her shoulder for the rest of her life though, and defended her parents' honor even if it cost her opportunities. After high school, she worked a dangerous job in a local mining quarry as it was the only place that would hire her. After a few years, she did decide to change careers. Her parents were such pariahs that they struggled getting publishers to honor their book deals, which prompted her to pursue law as her career. That way, she could actually help others in these situations and protect the rights of those on the receiving end of prejudice. While attending school, she met Nate at University Intramural Baseball, and the pair hit it off. Nate was accepting of her and her odd family, and it seemed to be the perfect match. What could have been the best years of their life were tragically cut short on that fateful day in October 2077. If you've been following our channel, you know that we take role-playing very seriously, and we prefer to play Bethesda games in their vanilla, unmodded state. With this in mind, it's really difficult to role-play away the main quest in Fallout 4. So in our opinion, it's best to embrace it, at least initially. The first leg of the journey is tracking down your missing son, which most characters are obviously going to prioritize. The Atomic Fist is no exception. She chases down clues until her and Nick go to the memory den. From here, she has made progress and knows what happened to her son, and realizes she needs allies and resources to continue her pursuit. She joins the Brotherhood of Steel and they become her primary allied faction. The more she learns about synths in her travels, the more terrifying the Institute becomes. The moral implications of what they do are sickening to her. Replacing people, regardless of the reason, is abhorrent, and as a defender of human rights by profession, she has her work cut out for her. The synth question is an important dimension of a character build. The Atomic Fist does not consider them human, and mostly agrees with the Brotherhood mission that the Institute must be destroyed. For her, it's a moral issue. They can't be allowed to continue their reckless toying with free will and meddling in the lives of innocent people. For the Brotherhood, it's partially that, but mostly because the Institute rivals their power. The Atomic Fist isn't blind to this, and fortunately, Fallout 4's dialogue does allow for an exploration of nuance throughout the Brotherhood questline. You don't have to be a blind believer in the Brotherhood code to do their questline and side quests, which is great because the Atomic Fist has one foot in and one foot out. Her and the Brotherhood's ideals overlap a lot, but are not perfectly in sync. She struggles following rules and fits more into the chaotic good category. She doesn't think it's necessary to just destroy every synth outright. Hunting escaped synths is like going after the puppet and not the puppeteer. After the events of the main quest and the Brotherhood has accomplished their mission, she shifts gears and begins taking smaller jobs, helping the ordinary people of the Commonwealth as the new leader of the Minutemen. With her backstory in mind, a few notable moments include helping the Cabot family, witnessing the UFO, and exploring Dunwich borers. All three are moments she wishes that she could share with her parents and wonders what they would have to say. The Lovecraftian themes to Fallout are a ton of fun, especially for a character who grew up on the lookout for the supernatural. Far Harbor was a tricky experience, as it put her in a completely unwinnable situation. She initially sympathizes with the children of Adam, as she knows firsthand what it's like to be ridiculed by the masses due to a strange belief. However, they are no saints. You witness one follower murder the other as soon as you approach the nucleus. Even if both followers knew what they signed up for, murder is still murder. On the other hand, Far Harbor took the lives of at least 2 Children of Adam missionaries. The latest one is an encounter that you can witness. She is disgusted by the approval from the townsfolk and can't believe that they blame the children for the fog, which is clearly a natural phenomenon. The citizens of Far Harbor bring out the worst in human hive mind and what awful things humanity will do when they fear the unknown. That leaves Acadia, which I'm not going to spoil if you haven't done it, as it's an incredible questline. In her mind though, Dima is the worst of the 3, so she puts her skills to use as a defender of the children of Adam, who she decides are the lesser evil. Keep in mind, her backstory allows her to keep the children of Adam's strange beliefs out of her judgment completely. They deserve the right to live freely and practice their religion. While she believes in the supernatural, aliens, and possibly greater powers, she doesn't need to subscribe to the children's beliefs entirely to side with them. She is a humanist, and what is more human than religion itself? That being said, she leaves the island wondering if it would have been better off had she never arrived in the first place. Her tendency to be a human steamroller isn't always a bad thing though. She liberates the traders of Nuka World and completely wipes out the gangs. Nuka World is still a fun DLC, even if it doesn't provide any narrative expansion for good characters. Her overall objective is to defend the defenseless, and Nuka World is an isolated playground of opportunity. Now let's talk companions. The Atomic Fist is a lone wanderer character and isn't built around having one around. They would absolutely take hits from your explosives, and we do not have high enough charisma to remove friendly fire. However, you can still bring them along for quest moments for the sake of roleplay and narrative depth. Paladin Dance is the first option, though to reach max affinity you will need to plan ahead. There is a moment where you need high charisma to talk him off a ledge. Load up on Excel, Day Tripper, and whatever else you can find that raises charisma before that moment. Kate is a good option, but her likes and dislikes have little rhyme or reason to them, so you'll need to be careful. And finally, there's Strong, who gives you the best perk, but will dislike everything about you. I had no companion perks at all for my playthrough, but you totally can if you want to optimize the build better. Alright, now let's talk creating the character. The Atomic Fist wields the Furious Power Fist dropped by Swan in Boston Commons, and will toss all manner of explosives. Baseball grenades are naturally her favorite. They can be crafted at the chemistry station, so always keep an eye out for relevant materials to stock up on. The Fat Man and Missile Launcher are good options as well. We are not taking the Heavy Weapons perk, but we do max out Demolitionist, and fortunately, these sort of launched explosives scale up with both perks. For armor, she will wear Adam's Bulwark, Yellow Flight Helmet, and heavy metal pieces on all 4 limbs. Under the armor, we wore whatever we could find. I kept a harness for a long time, but ended up with the Far Harbor Trapper under armor. With a high enough armor skill, you can add the shadowed variant to the metal pieces, which makes the metal blend nicely with the chest piece. The heavy metal variant includes a mounted blade over the right forearm, which overlays on top of the Power Fist for an even more menacing look. We also really like how many yellow accents are in this combo, and reminded us of the loader from Risk of Rain. Per the Fallout wiki, the Power Fist was not a weapon initially, and it's a modified piece of construction equipment for demolition work, which makes it even more of a fitting choice for her. She doesn't have formal combat training, but is a natural athlete and worked a job around such equipment for a time, so she took what she knew and adapted it to become an unstoppable force. Up next is Stats and Perk Spread. For her special stats, she will leave the vault with 5 Strength, 4 Perception, 7 Endurance, 3 Charisma, 2 Intelligence, 6 Agility, and 1 Luck. Take 1 more in Strength from the Your Special book in Sean's room. As usual, we are stopping our chosen perks at level 40. We like our builds to take shape relatively early, so you can enjoy the gameplay for as long as possible. Beyond that, it's up to you how you want to optimize or expand the build. We do recommend capping out Strength, Endurance, and Agility. The exact perk order was personal preference based on what I felt would help the character the most at that point. Finally, I include the Water Breathing perk whenever possible in my builds, as I think underwater approaches are a ton of fun in this game, especially in Far Harbor. And with that, we are ready to wrap up the build. This character actually began as an effort to build Veronica from New Vegas in Fallout 4. She turned into something else entirely, but it was a fun thought exercise that got the wheels turning. What would she be like as the sole survivor? Veronica is loyal to her Brotherhood of Steel family, but doesn't like how they isolate themselves and often finds herself at odds with the Elder. She explores the wastes with her power fist, isn't afraid to get her hands dirty, but also enjoys the fine and fun things of life. Veronica is one of my favorite characters in the Fallout universe. Though the final result deviated from her quite a bit, it was still a lot of fun. And I ended up keeping her sardonic personality in mind during the playthrough, and picked the dialogue that I thought would best fit Veronica. Thank you so much for watching our builds. We have a lot more planned, so be sure to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time, right here on Skypothesis.